at Pittsburgh's Acrisure Stadium. Today we hit Week 10, and we've got a good one in store between the New Orleans Saints and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The shadow's starting to get a bit longer. Week 10 of the NFL season is here, and we're underway on EA Sports. Fielded just outside the goal line. And look at this. Right away, a loose football. And this is picked up by the Saints. And he'll bring it back to the 9-yard line. So that a nightmarish start to a football game as they give the ball away on the opening kickoff.
And they put their defense in a bind right away. They have to go into protect mode.
First and goal, a chance for an early statement here on the road. Trying to pound it in, Camara. And the second wave of tacklers is going to get him as they stop him behind the line. It'll go as a loss of a yard on the game's first play. Second down.
Well, that kind of hit will certainly fire up your team both on the field and on the sideline. Tackles for lost yardage, they're always welcome.
Now from the 9, here's second and goal. Now Dalton. And he swung out wide here for Henderson. And they'll lose yardage here. They go backwards to the 13-yard line. So that'll go as a 4-yard loss on the play. And this brings up a third and goal.
And that's a great job of tackling right there. If he could have made the first man miss, maybe he could have taken it into the end zone. Instead, they stopped him pretty well right in his tracks. And you often see that in the red zone. Offense has to be quick. In this case, the defense was quicker.
And now can they reverse the trend on third and goal with the last 2 plays having gone backwards? Throwing, Dalton. And he's not able to get away. Sacked back at the 22. T.J. Watt make that now 8 sacks for him on the season. The kick by Lutz is good. So the big return had him fired up, but in the end, the offense stalls out. They only muster 3.
Yeah, the excitement was there after the return, but they didn't move the ball at all after that. They didn't even get a first down.
Following the made field goal, Lutz to kick it away. Taking it about the 1. And good coverage there on special teams as they'll get him down shy of the 20. Pickett leads the Steelers up here with a fresh set of downs at their own 19-yard line. They'll start on the ground with Harris. 5 yards is the tally on first down. That brings up second and 5.
Not a huge play, but I think they're more than happy with how it turned out. Don't be surprised to see them revisit that call because there was a lane there for more than just 5 yards. Put it in your back pocket and break it out when you need it later.
Now, meanwhile, here's a second down throw that's knocked away and incomplete.
Certainly looked like someone was very confident in his ability to fit that one in. I would say he was overconfident because there wasn't a whole lot of separation there. Had that one covered pretty well downfield and knocked it away.
They come up now 3rd and 5 following the incomplete pass. Here's Pickett. That's into a crowd and intercepted. Picked off by Alontae Taylor. They brought the house that time on the young rookie, maybe a little rattled through the pick.
And you have to be prepared for a lot of pressure as a rookie quarterback because most defensive coordinators are going to test you that way. So when you see that, the ball's got to get out of your hands quickly, and that means your receivers have to understand they have to break off their routes quickly as well.
And he's got him. It's caught in the end zone. Touchdown, New Orleans. 6th touchdown of the season. And the Saints are able to strike quickly to add on to their lead. Will Lutz on for the point after. He's got it, and now it's a 10-0 lead here in the opening quarter. So an early 10-0 lead for them now as they kick it away. Fielded right around the 8. And he'll be out of bounds across the 25. The Steeler offense here about ready for their next drive. Well, Charles, it's kind of gut check time. Look, I know it's early, first quarter, just their second drive of the game, but they've already thrown the interception, given up the score. You're down double digits. They got to figure out something, and pretty quickly here.
No doubt about it. And when we look at that sideline, I'm sure you're observing the same thing I am. I don't like the body language at all. They look like they're in a state of stunned disbelief. So to me, we always talk about someone stepping up and making a big play. I think it would behoove them if multiple guys step up and make big plays right now. They need something positive to happen, and they need for it to happen now.
The gain of 28 yards there and give them the first down. On the delay, here's Harris. And he is tackled inside the 40, not quite to the 35. That'll be a pickup of 10 as they try to recover from this 10-point deficit. The Steelers at 3-5, 2 games under 500, and they come in off the extended break from the bye.
And I think it was much needed as well because you play 2.5 months. You know you're ready for some time off in order to get prepared for the home stretch. In fact, when they looked at the schedule to start the season, I think they liked where their open week fell.
First down, and they go back to Harris. No dice this go-around. He's hit behind the line and taken down. They'll lose a yard there, and it's 2nd and 11.
With his size, he's a tough man to bring down, but they do a nice job there stopping his progress and not allowing him to get back to the line of scrimmage.
On 2nd and 11 now. Pickett. And this one's incomplete.
I certainly thought he had an open look beyond the first down marker to his receiver, but they just couldn't connect, and that will send them back to the drawing board.
An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on 3rd down. Harris running straight ahead. It's a 7-yard run, but it does bring up 4th down.
And there we saw one of the downsides of blitzing during a rundown because sometimes you get out of your gaps. You don't fit the run quite as well because you're headed towards the ball carrier with abandon.
So Pickett is off to the sideline, and Chris Boswell is on for the Steeler field goal try. On the left hash, this from 48 yards. Boswell's kick is good, and they get themselves on the board here. It's 10-3. So the 3 points there, and CD, that helps them inch a bit closer.
Yeah, partner, when you're losing, any points you see go on the board in your favor, you're happy to take them.
After the successful field goal try, here's Boswell to send it away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. The Saints offense on the field ready to get their drive started. And they are a game under 500 now following the loss a week ago. And this is a team, Charles, that just has not been able to string victories together.
Yeah, they're certainly going the wrong way, aren't they? Because it looked like they had things pointing in the right direction, but now they've lost 2 straight. And that means this game is vital, extremely important, because if they fall 2 games below 500, the road back into playoff contention, awfully difficult.
Operating out of Steeler territory now. Here's 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line. Now a first down carry. It's Kamara. He'll take this to the 46. 3 yards on that last carry. Here's 2nd and 7. 44. Again, it's Kamara. And he gets it inside the 35 and just shy of the 30. He'll get 15 and a Saints first down. Now, look, that wasn't a huge gain, but those are the types of carries I think they were missing in their loss last week. They couldn't get him going on the ground.
Did you get the same feeling I did during our meetings, that they kind of regretted that he didn't touch the ball?
Absolutely.
You know, hey, he should have touched it more last week. They weren't going to make that same mistake, and they've taken care of that early.
They're unable to connect, but a late flag comes in. And the contact may have come too early. 10-3 our score after one here on EA Sports. So the yellow flag came out, and that leads to a new set of downs for this offense. 1st and 10. Following the penalty, it's Kamara. And he is met at the line of scrimmage, and he goes down right there. There to stop him, Terrell Edmonds.
And when the defense wins and gives up no yardage on a running play, that's something they can build on and carry themselves forward throughout the game.
So after the run for no gain, here's 2nd and 10. Now here's a little touch pass as they tap it quickly to their receiver. And he fumbled it. It's on the ground. And it's picked up by the Steelers. And to the 12. That's where it stops. The return is halted at the 12-yard line. Obviously, you got to hold on to the football, but I've got to give credit to the defense there. Good job of knocking it free.
Yeah, because a lot of the time we just blame the offensive players for not taking care of it. How about the effort of the defensive players knowing that guys are going to, and if they're good, anticipate the contact coming and try and cover up the football. And they still find ways to knock it free.
The Pittsburgh offense at the line to start their next drive. 3-5 is where they sit on the year. A very uneven start is certainly not an ideal position to be in at the halfway point of the season. CD, do you see an avenue where they can still be a playoff team, or is that ship sailed?
Well, since you took me to the nautical side, I'm going to try and keep up here, because to me, this ship is about ready to pull out of port. These next couple of games are absolute must-wins for them. Now, if they can win a couple, get to 5-5, maybe they start believing in themselves. But a loss here, that would move them to 3-6. And if that's the case, well, that boat is going to head out to the harbor with them still on the dock.
To throw on 2nd and 10. Pickett. That ball caught by the former Toledo Rocket, Deontay Johnson. 5 yards. Now it's 3rd and 5.
One thing you're hoping for when you run drag routes, you're able to hit a receiver in stride, and he can pick up a lot of yardage after the catch. But in this situation, the defense was effective, able to stop him before he could get a good head of steam going.
A throw there, but that's going to wind up incomplete. Problems on 3rd down so far in this first half. Relatively small sample size, but they're now 0 for 3.
And the average in the league, somewhere around 40% on 3rd down for offenses. So what's the answer to this? Either convert them or don't get to 3rd down in the first place. Get your big chunks of yards on 1st and 2nd down.
And he'll take it on this side of midfield. 35 yards that time on the punt. And the Saints will have a short field in front of them. They take over here, 1st and 10. They'll pound it up the middle with Kamara. Oh, he's got some breathing room. And he'll cross over out of bounds right at the 25. That good for 22 and a 1st down. With that last effort, he topples the 5,000-yard mark for his career.
And that doesn't place you among the absolute greats that have ever played the game, but it's a significant achievement and a very, very solid career.
Jet sweep. Here's Olave. And he's going to take this one down to about the 23-yard line. Ball at the 23, second and 8. Dalton now to pass. And it's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect. They're going for a receiver there. Already has one touchdown in this first half. A second one not to be.
I like where their headspace is, though. I mean, I really like the thought process, right? You got a guy who's already scored one, right? You want to go back to him, continue the hot hand, and make them adjust to you defensively. I like what they were trying to get done, even though they weren't successful.
The Saints going to call the first of their timeouts. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this second quarter. So the failure to connect on second down, that leaves them staring up here at a 3rd and 8. Here's Dalton. This one taken in by Olave. And they'll get him down about 3 yards short of the first. It'll be a gain of 5. And that's going to bring up a 4th down.
So much about this game is just understanding situations and then having to execute, isn't it? Guard the first down sticks. Don't let them get there. And they rallied and made the tackle.
The kick by Lutz is good. And they will stretch their lead to 10 now at 13-3. So that one on target, and it adds to this first half lead.
And maybe we're too early to worry too much about 1-score lead, 2-score lead, etc. But this is where you kind of start banking those points that come in helpful later on.
And not willing to risk another fumble. He'll sit on this one. It's a touchback. The Steeler offense here about ready for their next drive. And they enter play here in this one on a 2-game win streak, plus they come off the open week as well. So this is a team that has a lot of things working in their favor.
It certainly is, and let's face it, this team is playing so well. The worry now is that after a few extra days off, they'll be sluggish coming into this game. So I've heard that he spent more time in practice working what they call good versus good, starting offense versus starting defense. They want a fast start in this next game.
Not enough there for a first. No gain, as a matter of fact. And it leaves them at 3rd and 1.
As usual, the hallmark of a good run defense, linebackers making plays near the line of scrimmage. Absolutely nowhere to run there.
Trying to pick it up on the ground with Harris. And he will have a first down as they get him to the ground at the 37. They're able to convert with a gain of 4.
Well, partner, none of these runs individually have added up to a whole lot.
Now, 3 plays, all 3 short runs, but together a first down.
Yeah, it's amazing how the narrative changes when you string them together.
Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10. Now Pickett will look to pass it. And he just gets rid of it, throws it away. The wise move there, looked like nobody open, now 2nd down.
With a rookie quarterback out there, you're definitely going to find out how he handles adversity, because this one so far hasn't gone according to plan. He's got to fight through it and show him what he's made of.
So now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion on 1st down. Pickett will look to throw it here. And the Saints pressure gets him. Brought down for a sack. Cameron Jordan in there to bury him for a loss of 11.
The lessons will continue, but this rookie, he's got to learn how to read situations just a little bit better. That far behind the line, he's got to find a way to get rid of the football and not take the sack, whether it's with his legs or just throwing it away.
Pickett and the Steelers in need of a big play here. 3rd and long after the sack. He'll look to throw. 1:57 to go in this first half on EA Sports. On 4th down, here's Presley Harvin on to punt. That's pulled in at the 32. They call that a punt of 38 yards officially. And the Saints will take over with a 1st down and 10. The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started. And they're not going to play this conservative, I don't think. They had the field goal last time, and they're up, but they're looking to put a drive in the end zone.
Oh, I agree with you totally. No one goes out on the field and says, all right, let's just settle for 3, except in certain situations, trying to ice a game, that sort of deal. Most of the time, it's end zone, and that's what you're thinking, and I believe that's exactly what they're thinking as they begin this one.
Yeah, no quarterback ever goes out there saying, hey, let's get 3, right?
Not one that I've ever met.
The last run good for 2. Here's 2nd and 8. Passing. It's Dalton. It's caught outright by Graham. And this winds up a pickup of 2, maybe 2.5 to about the 39.
That was an okay hookup there with his tight end, but unfortunately, they didn't get the kind of yards they had hoped for. That's going to bring up 3rd down.
Creeping up on a minute to play in this first half. Dalton. Slant pass complete to Olave. And he is going to have a Saints 1st down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion. Kamara up the middle. And just 1 yard here from the 49 to the 50.
Oh, there's plenty of traffic waiting for him up the middle. But give him credit, he tried barreling through anyway. They're fortunate to get a yard out of that one.
The run only got a yard. Here's 2nd and 9. From midfield here, Dalton. And Thomas has it. And they'll get him down on the other side of midfield. Now a timeout signal for him. They'll get it with 10 seconds to go before halftime. The Steelers now in the nickel here on 3rd down.
93, 52, 93.
To throw here, Dalton. Ball hit as he throws there, incomplete.
I see the surprise in your face there, partner. That is a rare incompletion from him. He's been on point this entire game.
He has percentage completion-wise way up, not that time. And they're going to take a timeout defensively. So with 4th down coming up, they go ahead and burn it and say we'll see what happens. They'll try to pass on 4th down. Dalton. Got an open man. It's Olave. And he's in for the touchdown on the final play of the first half. The prayer is answered.
How did they get that done?
And they extend their lead, a little added cushion into the lockers. What a way to finish.
Tremendous way. That's momentum that they carry in with them. Can they convert it and bring it back out to start the 3rd quarter?
Lutt's good on the extra point, and that will take us to the end of the first half of play. So we have reached halftime with the visiting Saints out on top. As we'll send you down to Orlando, we check in with Jonathan Coachman for our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach. We welcome you back now. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gunn, getting set for quarter number 3 here. Set now to go for the third quarter. The Saints have the lead and set to receive the kick. And not willing to risk another fumble, he'll sit on this one. It's a touchback. The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started. And Charles, they've got the lead. Put your coaching hat on here now. What's the game plan for the second half?
I think getting the running game going a little bit more, because I thought in the first half they didn't get it moving the way that they would like. They had success throwing it, but I think these first couple of drives, they'll want to get those running backs going and give them more opportunities, and I will guarantee you that those guys were lobbying for them in the locker room at halftime.
Dalton bootlegs out. He'll find his tight end. It's Adam Troutman. It's a solid pickup of 11, and it's second down.
That's a good-looking play to me. The big tight end on a crossing route coming underneath. Sometimes he can gain some serious momentum going forward, can't he?
Yeah, he can indeed, and pretty well executed there. They'll come up now 2nd and 4 from the 31. Again, this is Kamara. And tackled down after a gain of 3. Leaves him with 1 yard to go on 3rd down. And that's some good tackling there to keep him short of that yellow line.
Yeah, and defensively, all I'm thinking is that on that play, get me to 3rd down. Get me into a position where I can make one more play and get my defense off the field.
So they just need 1 yard here to pick up the first down. Here's Kamara trying to run for it. And I don't think Kamara got there. Looks like they stopped him short. No gain on the play there. A nice job defensively. And it likely forces a punt situation on 4th. Here comes the Saints punter now. And the way this offense has moved the ball, he hasn't been needed till here in the 3rd. And just a single punt for him in the loss last week as he sends this one away. Olszewski now to return. And he takes us beyond the 35 before going out of bounds. A very good return that time. 18 yards. And the Steelers will go on offense here, 1st and 10. The Pittsburgh offense at the line to start their next drive. They'll start the drive with Harris. Yeah, boy, this defense again really making things tough on him as they stop him for no gain. It's rare that a man his size can't at least push forward for a yard, but they stopped him there for nothing.
You're talking about tiny? You're talking about the little guy back there? That monster. Yeah, you're exactly right. And it takes a group effort to get a guy like that down and not let him find some space. The first guy in, he's got to take one for the team, right? Because he's just waiting there and holding on for everyone else to help him out.
And he'll go out of bounds, it looks like, right at the 40. 4 yards the gain, and it'll bring up a 3rd down.
It's been a struggle this entire game trying to move the ball on the ground. But every now and then you find a little chink in the armor, and that type of run right there lets them know that they can't stop every single run for almost no gain.
That's swung out wide to Harris. And he'll be taken down, but he does have first down yardage. Now a first down carry for Harris. And he'll fight forward on the straight-ahead running for just a couple of yards. Second down.
Well, any lane that might have been open there was closed pretty quickly, and that was because the defensive front, they won that battle at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. They used great leverage, held their spot, and stacked him up.
The last run got a couple. Here's 2nd and 8. This is Harris on the draw. Absolutely nobody fooled there. He's going nowhere fast as he stopped behind the line of scrimmage. They wind up losing a couple there, so they go behind the original line of scrimmage, and now 3rd and 11 coming up. Backed up here. Tough spot, needing 11 yards to pick up the first. Throwing on 3rd down. Here's Pickett. They'll get this complete to Calvin Austin. And this is going to be another first down as the tackle's made at the Saints 42. 12 yards that time at a Pittsburgh first.
Well, we talk all the time about playing situational football. And right now, I think the scoreboard is dictating what they need to do. Where they are in this game, they've got to push the ball downfield, take their shots, try and get big chunks of yardage in a short amount of time. That was a nice play there.
Pickett to throw on first down. It's brought in by Harris. He's got room at the 30. And he is out of bounds, but not before he's inside the 30. Still in search of their first touchdown of the game, but they're on the move. 1st and 10. Pickett now on first down. Eluding the pressure right. And he'll toss this one incomplete. Seeing no options, he throws it away.
I'm sure it was a tough halftime trying to figure out some strategy to get things going. Trailing by a lot when they went into the locker room. He's just trying every avenue to spark his team here to begin the 3rd quarter. Not a lot going on that play, though.
And he'll get it down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Try him with Pickett here on 3rd down. Pushes him over. And they're going to be set up now with the ball at the 13-yard line. From the 13 now, they work on 1st and 10. And look like some movement there. Let's get the call. That flag accepted, and it backs the offense up a little bit. The false start backs them up 5. 1st and 15. Looking to throw. Pickett. Got his man. It's caught for a Steelers touchdown. Calvin Austin, an 18-yard touchdown grab. And the Steelers are able to make some inroads here to that deficit. Extra point put through by Boswell. And the lead is trimmed down to 10. Well now to kick it away after the touchdown. From a yard or two deep, here comes a return. The lane opens here. He's past the 30. And able to break this out all the way to the 38-yard line. Great return. The Saints offense on the field ready to get their drive started. This now a 10-point game, so things tightening a little bit after that last score. And nothing much materializing there on the first down run. He'll get a couple, and that's it.
They'd love to just strike back with a touchdown right here, and if it's a long play, so be it. But the main goal, get a couple of first downs, run some plays, run some clock, allow their defense to get a chance to catch their breath, settle down, and relax a little bit after they just gave up a score.
From the 40 now on 2nd down. Dalton. And he's unable to hold on to that defensively. A potential game changer, but it falls incomplete.
Well, you most certainly don't want to go 3 and out here and give the football right back, because your friend, Old Momentum, he's wondering if he should change sidelines about right now. And if you don't convert here, guess what? He's going to make the trek to the opposite side, and all of a sudden, you've got a battle on your hands.
Now the terrible towels in full force now as the Steelers get set to defend this 3rd and long. Third down, a shot here for Dalton. He completes it to Olave. And he takes this one down almost all the way to the 30.
A gain of 29 yards. And the Saints first down.
Before they can snap it, time runs out on this 3rd quarter of play. We'll return with more after this. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Line of scrimmage, the 31 now on 1st and 10. Dalton here from the gun. And intercepted. Maybe the turning point they need. The safety, Terrell Edmonds, picks it. And the Steelers are right back in this football game. That is the play they needed in a 2-score game here in the 4th quarter.
No doubt about it. They did what they had to do to give themselves a chance to get back into the game. They turned it over to the offense. They are now in charge.
Now they need to execute. Harris starts the drive on the ground. And this will leave him a yard short. Nice pickup of 9 yards on 1st down. So not a lineman, but the tight end instead this time, drawing the holding call.
And more what you're getting with tight ends are guys who are much more receiver than blocker. They may be willing, but that might not be their thing. Oftentimes, they'll be the ones getting the penalties.
Pickett back to throw. He's got him in, complete. Now he's going to get this all the way down inside the 35. 39 yards there, a big one.
There's the arm strength that we saw in college and during the scouting process. And really, it's not just the arm strength there, but the placement as well. To me, that was an excellent combination of arm talent and accuracy.
On the draw, it's Harris. And he'll power ahead, but only for about 3 yards. 2nd down coming up.
But that call makes sense because they've been throwing it well on this drive, and once again they show passing formation, showing the shotgun. Then they ran out of it. That's a nice play by them defensively, though, to hold it to a short game.
Quick throw, knocked away, and incomplete. So another incompletion there. He's hitting on fewer than half his pass attempts in this one, and that is not a winning formula.
Yeah, so let's make sure we give a little bit of credit to the defense here. They're giving him a lot to think about, a lot of different looks, and he seems a little bit confused trying to complete passes.
From the red zone now, they'll look to throw. He gets it complete to Harris. And he'll get it here to the 10-yard line. In need of only about the length of the football here on 2nd down. Pickett, he'll look to throw it. And caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Steelers. Pat Fryermuth from 10 yards out. And the Steelers have made it a 1-score game again here in the 4th. Boswell good with the extra point. And now things get a bit more interesting here in this 4th quarter. Boswell now to kick it away after the touchdown. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. The Saints offense on the field, ready to get their drive started. I'm curious to see, Charles, about the play calling on this drive. Last time out, the interception that led to a touchdown. Here we are. I mean, very close, one-score game.
Yeah, and if I'm a defender, I'm actually chirping Chili on the other side of the ball, saying, hey, we picked off the last one. What you going to do about it now? So when you do throw the football, high percentage, but throw it with confidence. Because if there's any hesitancy at all, it could end up in enemy's hands again.
Following the incomplete pass, here they go again. 2nd and 10 from the 25.
368.
Out of the gun, it's Dalton. To the right side and complete to Thomas. And he's taken down but able to slip across the 35. It's a gain of 13 for number 13, and it gives him a first down. A much better effort we're seeing from him under center this week versus last week when he threw 4 picks.
He has thrown the 1 in this game, but you're right. When you cut it down from 4 the previous week, and we always talk about adjustments, well, he made some in practice.
And look at this. They get the turnover they needed. It's intercepted. Levi Wallace with a pick. And the Steelers are going to take possession of the football. So, my goodness, I would have thought this possible not too long ago, but that turnover there means we have a game again.
Yeah, it's been a completely different team here in the second half. I just wonder on the other side of the field, where the starters telling the backups, get ready, you're going to get some playing time. And now guess what? Oh, they didn't cut the tape off of their wrists and ankles. They've got to go back out there and play.
And he'll work this forward for about 3 at 2nd down.
Not a big run on the first play of the drive, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad play. Sometimes you're just trying to settle in, get your guys a little bit of contact, and get things moving.
The last run got 3. Now here's 2nd and 7. Back to throw. Pickett. Throwing over the middle, but it's incomplete.
As a defensive back, you have some weapons at your disposal that we don't often talk about. And you can read the receiver's eyes, you can read his hands, and you know that the arrival of the ball is imminent. And that allows you to make a play on it and oftentimes knock it away.
Pickett. He'll get this one down near the 20-yard line, just shy of the 20. Great way to convert on 3rd down there. 21 yards to play. A run with Harris out of the shotgun. And he'll take it down here just shy of the 15 at the 16-yard line. 62 yards rushing for him now to this point.
That play wasn't quite as big as the play that preceded it, but still, gotta like the way they're moving the football, partner.
Absolutely. Pretty good room to run on that last play.
Yeah, they didn't get a first down, but still, you'll take runs like that each and every time, won't you?
6 yards on that last play. Here's 2nd and 4. They stay on the ground. Again, it's Harris. And he'll take this one down near the 15. Just a yard on the pickup there, and it'll leave him with a 3rd and 3.
Brandon, we talk all the time about those hybrid players, guys who can do more than one thing. And I think if you're playing strong safety in the NFL today, you are a true hybrid. Part linebacker, part cover guy.
And coming up, sticking his nose in the mess there and making a nice play defensively. 3 points separating these two sides with 2 minutes left to go in the 4th. As big of a play as we've had in this one so far. This is 3rd and 3. They hand this off to Harris. Oh, no, he lost the football. And the offense will get this one back. Boy, that could have been catastrophic at this late stage of the game, but they avoid disaster.
Wow, that ball gets knocked free, but a teammate comes along and scoops it up. It's almost like baseball. Guys at bat, people are on base in scoring position. One guy doesn't get him home. The next guy comes through and picks him up.
And avoids the turnover. Only way to get the lead here, of course, with a touchdown. And that's what they're gunning for on 1st and goal. On the give, this is Harris. And a short pickup there down to about the 9. The Saints going to call the first of their timeouts as they'll talk things over prior to this upcoming second down play. And the ball situated at the 9, second and goal. Now a toss play. It's Harris. And they'll be driven back here, losing yardage to the 10-yard line. Now a second timeout called for by the defense as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. For the lead, here's third and goal. On the delay, here's Harris. And he'll be brought down right on the edge of the goal line at about the 1-yard line. Now the defense will burn their third and final timeout. And as the two teams talk it over on their respective sidelines, we take a break. They run for it with Harris. And not only will he not get in, he's going to lose yardage. They stuff him back at the 4. They stop him up short on 4th and goal from the 1. And that's going to be just about all she wrote for this one. The Saints offense on the field ready to get their drive started. And this game not quite in hand yet. We'll likely see all 3 timeouts defensively and then reassess where we are. Now the Steelers use the first of their 3 timeouts as they get it with under a minute to go now in the football game. This, in all probability, another run here on 2nd and 8. Running left is Henderson. And he'll take this forward only up to about the 7. Now a second timeout called for by the defense as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds left to go in the game. Charles, why didn't they just take the knee there?
You're asking the question that I'm asking as well, because we've seen a lot of football where coaches decide maybe they get a little greedy. I don't know if they're doing it for stats or for what reason. We've seen it happen in college. And how about in the NFL? The miracle of the Meadowlands. All they had to do was take a knee and the game was over. The Giants ran it one more time. Ball popped free. Philadelphia picks it up and wins the game.
What year was that?
1978. I think it was in November.
On third down, here's Kamara. And some room to work. And he works it across the 25 before being tackled. A big pickup there, and without question, that should be more than enough to wrap this one up.
They're probably about one big play from getting into field goal range. I'd go with a 2-deep coverage. Make sure my safeties are back to cover all of the field deep.
So signs of life in what's been a dormant offense in this second half. Here's 1st and 10. The Saints in victory formation now as they'll take the knee. So this one a victory here for New Orleans. And it was a bit of a strange game. They were held scoreless through the entire second half, but their first half output, that's enough to carry them to victory.
And that's an odd game to watch, isn't it? Because when we saw the output in the first half, you think to yourself, okay, they've got something working here. They know what they're doing. They'll continue that along. But instead, it's goose eggs in the second half. Fortunately, enough of a cushion and enough defense to carry them home.
So for New Orleans, it's a win that might keep them alive in the playoff race as they're back to 500 at 5-5. And they'll return home next week to take on the LA Rams. Meanwhile, for Pittsburgh, their season is on life support somewhat now at 3-6. And they'll be back home next week as they're set to take on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Saints.